The Antrim Forum, we're well and truly outside Belfast once again with the Outside broadcast. This little chap is Assam, the tiger cub. He's 3 months old and he's part of Duffys Circus. And he's with Tommy Chipperfield here. We'll be finding out a lot more about the circus when you come back and join us later. We'll be meeting some of the trapeze artists, a few snakes, a couple of spiders and a clown. So come back and join us later in the programme.
Certainly will. You could bring a little...
As they say. Now this is David Duffy. David Duffy is the man behind Duffys Circus. David, it's been around a heck of a long time.
Yeah, the name of Duffy has been synonymous with circus in Ireland for over 200 years. We're the oldest circus in Ireland and one of the oldest in the world. As you would associate circus in America with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, or circus in France with Circus Bouglione, as people would associate the name of Duffy with circus in Ireland.
And you can trace your way right back to the start of it all?
I can, yeah. There hasn't been a year, say, in the last 216 years that there hasn't been a Duffy performing somewhere in Ireland.
And you're seventh
generation now.
But it's come a long way really since that, hasn't it? Big changes.
It has indeed. Circus is now big business. There's a lot more organising goes on behind the scenes than what would have done in the olden days. We work with computers and word processors and so forth nowadays, where you didn't have that.
We can actually see you here out in one of the leisure centres last week.
Right. As I say, it's got high tech now. The days of sort of flying by the seat of your pants is gone. There's a lot more to the business side of circus than people would imagine.
Yeah, and people still think presumably about little money boxes under the beds. We've come a long way since that.
Oh, we have indeed. As I say, those days is well gone. It's not a bad thing. As I say, circus has had to progress to come up to the times. Everything has changed. But the whole basis of the circus performance has actually sort of stayed very traditional, because that's important. It's one of the oldest traditions in the world, and it's what the people come along to see. They like to see the modernisation of maybe the lights and the music, but it's still the tradition of the circus artists and the clowns. It's a show that any member of the family, whether you're 9 to 90, can come and, you know, you won't be offended by anything you see.
And you're really trying to get as much as you can out of the potential market, because here we are outside the Antrim Forum, a big leisure centre, and you'd be visiting many leisure centres right across the province.
Well, that's right. We're in the middle of a tour of Northern Ireland of all the leisure centres. As I say, circus is very expensive to run nowadays. With our public liability insurance, it runs 12 months of the year. So obviously we have to try and keep on the road as long as we can to meet those costs. So the leisure centres with working indoors has helped to extend our season.
And you have to be something of a jack of all trades, really, don't you, to find work in the circus these days? It's not just enough to be able to do one thing.
No, there would be very few artists or people in the circus these days that would be only able to do one sort of a thing. We can all fill in for each other, whether it's doing trapeze or horse riding or clowning. When you're involved in circus, you have to be able to do a variety of things, otherwise you wouldn't be able to continue.
And what about the future of the circus as you see it? I mean, you don't have any children as yet, but presumably if you did, you'd want them to get involved.
Oh yes, as I say, I'm a 7th generation of the family, and it's not going to stop here. My family has been involved with circus through a lot of hard times and a lot of troubles, and that no, it's not going to stop here. As there's an old saying in the business: as long as there's children, there'll always be circus. As long as the people keep coming to see us, Duffys will be on the road for many years to come.
Well, that's good news, David. Thanks very much indeed for that. Now, over here, meantime, is a gentleman who's shed his cap. This is Barry Walls. Barry Walls is the man responsible for this rather splendid mural on the side of one of the lorries behind us. Now, it's not finished, but
no.
Tell us the background to your work in this capacity.
Well, I've been painting. I started on the fairgrounds, actually, painting fairground shows. And then when the fairground shows finished, and I was sticking pins in myself then, doing fire eating and supervising striptease, you know. And the fairground shows finished, and I started on a circus 26 years ago, and there I've stayed ever since.
And it's all about colour and panache.
Oh, definitely. I'm very old-fashioned. I like the old-fashioned sign writing, the old-fashioned everything, scrolls and fancy work. And I think people look to that, you know, in circus. They'll look to the fancy work. When you see the Enid Blyton books, all scrolls and everything, you know, and that's what they look for.
And of course, the other thing they look for is the clowning. That's the highlight of any circus. And that's the other alter ego of Barry Walls, isn't it?
Oh, that's one of them, yes. I do a lot of things.
Right.
The same as David says, you've got to do everything.
We can see pictures of you here actually making up at the end of last week.
Yes, well, I'm still wearing the wig there, but that's... I like to... If you make up in front of the audience, it's amazing. I come on there dressed as a...
Dressed as a clown,
Dressed as a clown. Not dressed as a clown, no, dressed in tails. Very, very smart, with a wig on. And then I change into the clown in front of them. And it doesn't frighten the children.
And the children love it, presumably. That's the highlight for any child,
Oh,
is it?
definitely. They love the clowning. I love entertaining children.
And there's a lot more to it, of course, apart from that. We were seeing shots of trapeze and people walking on balls and all sorts of things. I mean, there's a real... Duffy Circus really has got everything, including the animals, of course.
Yes, yes. I mean, you've got to have a mixture of everything. I mean, I do a fakir act, you know, lying on the bed of nails and walking on swords and things like that. I've been doing that for a long time, getting very old now.
And you managed to find yourself a wife in Northern Ireland as well?
Oh yes, a very beautiful young lady, Siobhan. She's actually from Newcastle, County Down, and I met her 4 years ago. We've been together ever since.
Well, great news.
I brought her home.
You brought her home. Okay. Well, look, Barry Walls, thanks very much indeed. We'll see you maybe later, made up in your other state. But meantime, thanks very much indeed. Wendy, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Mark.
The Antrim Forum. Now, this is Samson. Samson is a Burmese python, as far as I understand.
That's
is that right? This
yes.
is Stephanie, the lady
Hello.
responsible for him. Hello there. A little bit strange to see somebody from the Portobello Road in London.
That's right, yes. I left Portobello Market to come here. I started off as a dancer in England and I got a job in a circus as a dancer and learned a few acts there, and then I came here to work and stayed here ever since. Been here 4 years now.
Tell us a little bit about Samson himself here.
Well, he's about 11 years old. He's 13 foot long. We feed him on chicken drumsticks.
Not television presenters?
No, or not Kentucky ones either, just plain chicken drumsticks.
And is he fairly decent old chap, yeah?
Yes, he is. He's a very docile one. He could strangle you if he wanted. He can bite, although it wouldn't be poisonous. It will just swell up and hurt a lot.
And he's suffering from a bit of a cold at the moment?
He's got a bit of a runny nose at the moment, yeah. He's got a blocked nose.
And he's a bit sad as well because he lost his Delilah.
Yes, she got a bit of a cold as well, a virus from another snake, and she didn't quite make it through, I'm afraid. But he seems to be doing okay. He's recovering well enough.
Now, it's not just snakes that you're involved in.
No, we have tarantulas as well.
Which is very topical, of course.
Because the film out at the moment.